If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll know that my whole dream growing up, what I wanted to be when I grew up, was a writer. I love reading, I love books, and the day I found out that you can make money writing books that are made up in your head, I knew that was it for me. I fell into medium writing about 2.5 years ago and realized that actually I was pretty good at writing nonfiction and now make my living full time writing blogs and as a freelance writer. But I've always wanted to go back to writing fiction. I've always wanted to finish a fiction book. And I decided that this year, this was gonna be it. This was gonna be my year to write my book. If it couldn't happen now, when? We're in a pandemic. What else am I gonna be doing? So I sat down and started to write. And I wanted to give you all an update on how that was going, how I was finding it, what I found my best process to be, what I've loved, what I've kind of hated, and what I'm gonna be doing moving forward with my book. So you can all stay up to date. So, brief update. It's going well. I am in love with writing. I feel like I'm kind of in the honeymoon phase. I've been writing since New Year and just been kind of obsessed with it. I spend like 2 or 3 hours a week doing that. And it's awesome. I always look forward to it. I never dread my writing sessions. My aim is to write for 2 hours a week. So 1 hour on Tuesdays, 1 hour on Thursdays, and to try to get about 1,000 words minimum done each session. And I've been doing that and more, which has actually been really great. I've loved it. No complaints. I sit down and the minutes just fly by somehow, and I look up and I've done 1,200 words and it's an hour later. So I originally started writing on Google Docs, and the most annoying thing about Google Docs was that you couldn't check the word count, so you have to like manually do it. I found that really annoying. And around the same time that I found that annoying, I realized I wanted to test out Wattpad as a platform for writing fiction, both for myself, but also so I can give you the lowdown. So I moved over to Wattpad maybe like a month ago. No, not that long, 2 weeks ago. And yeah, I didn't import all my own content. I decided at that point that it would be good to kind of start from scratch and rewrite what I had. I changed the plot a fair amount. I changed the story. I kept all my characters at different points in lives with the same characters because they've stuck with me this far, and I want to keep writing with them. They're fun. I'm still under a pen name there. So Zuli is a pen name for those of you who don't know, but I'm writing under a pen name because I'm still kind of feeling a little tender, a little vulnerable, and I'm not ready to share my baby fiction writing with the world yet. There will be a time that I am brave enough and I say, hey, I'd love some beta readers to give me your feedback on how this can be better. I'm not at that stage yet. I think that if I got any criticism, I would die, and that's only a very slight exaggeration. Very delicate still. So the story is about a girl who left her very small town very suddenly, ghosted her two best friends for life, without a word, without even a text, and she just left to go to college. And she comes back. She's kind of forced to come back when her fiance is cheating on her, and she comes back to her small town because it's like her safe landing pad. And she realizes that she always had it in her head as like a picture in amber, right? Unchanging. But she gets back and actually everything has changed. Her two best friends are suddenly in love and marrying each other. And she doesn't really know how to cope with that because she's in love with one of them herself. Not that she realizes that at the time. It's a lot of fun. I am really getting into the kind of messy, nitty gritty emotional aspects of it. And it's not autobiographical because I think my life is not nearly as interesting as all that. But I have pulled some elements, like people I know, I have tried to pull from elements of them to put into these characters because those are the most easiest and realistic traits that I can give them. Stuff from real people that I know and love and hate and admire and dislike. And I think that the more real stuff I can get from my life, from my people, from events that I've responded to and get that into the book, the better a book, hopefully, it will be. My process, I've kind of been thinking about what inspires me, and what I found out, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I sound a little bit like a parody of like a healthy yogurt commercial, but I love to go for a run, and that just gets my ideas going. So I wake up Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I put on my running shoes and I just go for a run, and I run not very long, 3 or 4 miles, and I think about my book the whole time. And when I come back, I've got like ideas for plot twists and conversations and how the plot is going to progress. I have an outline. I have like a 200-word outline of how the book goes, but fleshing that out, I do that during the runs, which is really, really fun. yeah, I come back all refreshed and breezy. I take a shower and I sit down and I start writing right away, and it all comes out. I try to reread my last chapter for continuity. A couple times I've found that I accidentally changed the name of like restaurants and stuff that I was referring to, and I forgot the name of my small town, so I've had to go back and remember what I called it. But it's been good. That process has worked really well for me. We're only in week 2 of that new process, but yeah, no complaints. What I've loved. I love Wattpad as a platform. I love how it works. I love that they encourage you to add tags, to interact with other writers, to add a cover, like a book cover to your thing. They have this little like story notes section where you have to, not for anybody else to read, but just for you to think about like, all right, who's the protagonist? Who's the antagonist? What are these people like? What do they look like? What do they feel like? How do they emotionally react to stuff? I love that. Wattpad, I wish I'd started writing on fiction on Wattpad a long time ago, because I think as a writer, it's a great place to write a book. Better than Google Docs, better than Medium, just as a strictly like UX kind of perspective. I've loved actually writing. I write for my living. I write nonfiction for my job in order to eat. And I find it really relaxing to do writing that I know is not going to be judged for money. I don't have to run this past a client. I don't have to post this on Medium to either go viral or not. I'm writing because I love to write, and that's fun. And by removing the price tag, I've actually made it a lot more liberating and enjoyable to flow all those words out. I love it. I have loved developing my characters. It's hard. It's like painting a picture. I can see what they look like in my head, but translating that into words is tough, but that challenge is really exciting. I've really liked the chapters on Wattpad. Again, the functionality. I like that each chapter, you can see the individual stats per chapter. I love that you can see how many words are at each chapter. And the fact that it's chaptered and not just like a long Word doc forces me to put a little bit more structure than I would normally be comfortable with. Amazing. Now, what I have not loved. I read a lot, as I've mentioned. I read a lot of very good rom-coms. I'm calling it market research, but it's just really for fun. What I find very, very, very frustrating is when I read something that's very good, or even when I read something that's very bad, but I can't tell what it is that makes it good or that makes it bad. And I'm reading this and I'm like, God, this is so good, or wow, this really sucks. And I can't put my finger on what it is that I like or dislike about it. I feel like if I were better at that, I would be able to apply those learnings to my own book. But right now, when I'm doing my market research, I'm just kind of left with emotions, but nowhere to put them. And I feel like I should be more proactive about reading now that I have my book to work on. It's tough. I don't love Wattpad stats. So I can tell that my book, the individual components, have been viewed 13 times. I published 2 weeks ago. 13. So I know that 5 people have read the first chapter, and 3 of those just left and apparently never came back. But they did come, like, that the idea that somebody read the first piece and didn't care about the others kind of is painful. But it's also just hard to get views. I have no idea how to promote my story on Wattpad. I've tried tags, I've commented on a few other people, but I don't know if it's my title, my book title, my description, my cover, something there is not engaging with people and it's not causing people to click. I'm still doing my research on how I can increase views, because the idea of getting feedback from people I don't know is actually a lot easier than getting feedback from people like you that I do know. So I'd love to get more engagement on Wattpad as a platform, and I don't know how to do that yet. But I'm working on it. I'm going to figure it out, and I'll get back to you on how to do that. Moving forward, at some point, I will be announcing my book. I will be talking about the title. I will talk about my pen name on there. I will release it for anybody who's interested. I know a lot of people have expressed an amazing amount of interest in my book, which, again, thank you so much. I never would have thought that'd be possible. And it's part of the reason I'm writing my book is because you encouraged me. So thank you for that. And I'm going to continue writing. I'm staying on track to meet my goals, and I'm hoping that by mid-year I'll have a first draft done and I'll be able to go through and do the edits, do the revisions, and maybe by that time I'll write enough rom-coms that I know what I like and what I don't like and how to stick that stuff or keep that stuff out of my book. And I'm also going to keep, like I said, tinkering away with Wattpad, figuring out what works, what doesn't work, how I should be titling my chapters, if I should be including, like Wattpad lets you stick images inside the chapters. Obviously, in my books, they don't have pictures in them because they're not picture books, but maybe that's how you do things on Wattpad. I'm going to see if maybe I can get into like Wattpad Facebook groups or Wattpad Slack channels and just figure out talking to real people who have been successful, talking to them and figuring out what the heck is going on. And I'm going to look forward to hearing about questions from you because this is now my call to action. Have you been on Wattpad? How do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. If you've written a book, I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts on that as well. I'm finding it exhilarating and kind of scary at the same time, and I assume it's the same for everyone, but maybe not. Let me know what your experience has been writing your book. I would love to hear it. And I will, I answer all my questions on a Monday, so if you comment, I'll get back to you on Monday. I've just launched my first ever course on Medium. It's called Medium Publications 101. Publications are the key to success on Medium. It's not just about getting into the biggest one, it's about finding the publication that fits your story like hand in glove, and then figuring out how to tailor your story to the readers of that publication. After 2 years on Medium, I have figured out how to do this. I've created a course. It's less than an hour long, and it has literally everything you could ever need about how to use publications on Medium, how to take your journey on Medium to the next level with publications. If you're interested, the link will be in the description. Until we meet again, happy writing. Bye, everyone.